TIFU by accidentally trauma bonding with my boss's dog and now he follows me home, by user Knax Giggles. So my boss brought his dog to the office. Cute golden retriever named Max. Everyone was petting him, giving him treats, whatever. I stayed chill. I don't trust dogs that trust everyone. Then lunchtime hit. I was having a rough day. I sat in the break room alone, eating sad pasta and listening to Landslide by Fleetwood Mac. Max walks in. Looks at me. Lays his head on my lap like he knows. I start talking to him. Not baby talk like full-on life's hard bro, hey, type beat. He sighs. For 20 minutes we just sit there in mutual emotional exhaustion. I think I cried a little. Anyway. Now he follows me around the office. Growls at HR, tries to get in my car when I leave. Today he brought me his leash. My boss is annoyed. His wife says Max sleeps near the door now and seems distant. I think I emotionally hijacked their family dog. Do I return him? Or is this joint custody now? TLDR. Had a sad moment in the break room, boss's dog comforted me, and now he emotionally imprinted on me. Dog might be mine now. TIFU by renaming someone's dog, by user Benjafenic. Today I fucked up by renaming somebody's dog. So I was at a celebration of life and a few family members I had never met were there. These people brought their dog, I didn't know whose dog he was. I was swimming as the celebration of life was at a lake, and the dog comes up to me. He didn't have a name on his collar, so I looked at him and decided he looked like a Paolo, so I started calling him Paolo. I did this for the 3-day celebration until one of the owners saw what I was doing and asked why I was calling him Paolo. I said no one told me his name and he looks like a Paolo. They then told me his name was Benjamin. I said sorry, he had been listening to Paolo, so I just went with it. They asked what I meant, so I walked away and called for him using Paolo. He ran right over and sat down. They then tried to call him using Benjamin, he didn't move. They tried again, nothing. Twice more they tried, nothing. Then they said Paolo and he ran right over. They gave him a middle name of Paolo that day. I'll probably never see them again, but I'll forever know their dog is now Benjamin Paolo because of me. Mini update, I was just informed he was a rescue and they changed his name to Benjamin when they got him. Maybe his name was Paolo all along. TLDR, at a celebration of life there was a dog I didn't know, couldn't find his name, called him Paolo. He then wouldn't respond to his actual name, and his name had to be changed from Benjamin to Benjamin Paolo. TIFU by electing to be Hitler's lawyer in a hypothetical scenario for my philosophy class, by user Brofisting Minion. I need to preface this immediately by saying that I do not like Hitler in any way, I denounce him entirely and am not sympathetic to a single thing about him. For my philosophy class we had to come up with a scenario where we defend the indefensible, it was an exercise in morals. People went with more tame things like cannibalism and capital punishment. I decided that I would really challenge myself and came up with the hypothetical that Hitler did not kill himself in his bunker and was to stand trial at Nuremberg and I was his lawyer. This really backfired for me, not only in the class but also my social life. The really bad part of all this is that we had to have an opposing side to defend against. I got paired with a guy who was really dumb, I don't mean to use that word in a mean way, but for some reason was in the class. Philosophy is for really smart people. His opening statement was that Hitler attacked the whole world. He fought the world. I then responded with, this is a false narrative, Hitler only declared war on Poland. My opponent then proceeded to make a really weird face and adjust his AirPods, he proceeded to look around the room awkwardly. Hitler attacked the Jews, I proceeded to respond with, Hitler tried to get rid of the Jews in non-lethal ways before he killed them. He then got emotional and responded with, Hitler was fucking evil bro. What's your problem? I promptly responded with, evil is an abstract concept, it's not objective. I have been reading a lot of Nietzsche. The silence is deafening after I say this, it's only broken when the teacher says alright, that's enough of this, we're going to move on now. I try to say that I am not a fan of Hitler but it is completely ignored because a Jewish student stormed out of the classroom. TLDR, I tried to defend the indefensible in my philosophy class and ended up impacting my life negatively. TIFU by not wearing sunscreen and getting a rare nerve reaction called Hell's Itch and having the worst 30 hours of my life. By user OK Window 5847. First off, before anyone reads my story, I just want to say, Hell's Itch is not a normal sunburn itch. It's some sort of nerve reaction. For those who think I am exaggerating how debilitating this is, Please go over to r/helsich and read some user testimonials. Hey race 1 from 2 days ago. I've experienced acute heroin withdrawal with no medication, cold turkey, as well as a kidney stone that was too big to treat ultrasonically. Those were like a stub toe compared to this. Anyway, hey race the TIFU. Several years ago I went to the beach for a few hours and like an idiot didn't put sunscreen on. I ended up getting a sunburn on my upper body. The next evening I was chilling on the couch watching TV after taking a shower when I suddenly felt a slight tickle on my chest. Not really thinking much of it, I just brushed my hand across my chest thinking it was a hair or something. About a minute later the feeling came back suddenly and sharply, this time though it was more tingly and itchy. I scratched the itch, thinking it's just the sunburn itching, and it went away. Probably about 10 seconds later it came back fiercely. The tingly itch was so strong my hand literally automatically jolted up to my chest to scratch it, like my brain forced it to. I was like, hey? This didn't feel like a normal sunburn itch, it felt deep in my skin. Have you ever got a random itch on the bottom of your foot or palm of your hand that feels like it's an inch under your skin and you can't seem to scratch it? That's what it felt like. I examined myself with a flashlight thinking a bug or something bit me, but nothing was there. Within the next few minutes this tiny spot on my chest had started spreading to my entire chest and shoulders. It would itch fiercely and felt like ants with razor blades as feet were under my skin. At this point I started to panic and went to go put some aloe on it hoping to soothe it. Big fucking mistake. This amplified the itch twofold and significantly increased the pain. I was on the verge of tears. None of this made any sense. Aloe is supposed to help sunburns and soothe them. By this time it had been maybe 10 minutes since this started, and little did I know a journey to the depths of hell was just beginning. I frantically started googling things like extremely itchy sunburn how to relieve and quickly discovered something called hell's itch or suicide itch. I did some reading and found out that this is not a typical sunburn itch, it is something completely different and significantly worse. It occurs about 48 hours after a sunburn and the itch usually begins after taking a shower. Things that typically help relieve symptoms of a sunburn such as aloe or cream do the polar opposite and make the symptoms much worse, while things that normally make a sunburn hurt worse such as a hot shower help relieve the itch. So here I was, standing in a boiling hot shower, and it was helping. Once the hot water ran out I got out and started absolutely tweaking. The itch was so fucking bad that my brain literally forced my arms to reach up to scratch it. It was uncontrollably at this point and I was just pacing around tweaking out and itching. I could barely stand, it was so bad. This went on all night and all next day until the following morning. I didn't sleep at all. I had to camp out on the couch so I wouldn't keep my fiancé up all night too, because I literally could not sit still and was just crying and itching from the pain. It was so bad that I would rather relieve breaking both of my legs during an accident I had as a teenager than deal with this hell on earth ever again. TLDR, got a rare reaction to sunburn that caused a painful uncontrollable itching sensation that incapacitated me. It was so bad that it felt like molten lava fire ants under my skin for almost 2 days. Aloe vera and itching cream amplified the symptoms. TIFU for not drinking enough water for years, by user ill possession 146. TLDR, I thought I was just unhealthy, but I was severely dehydrated. I wouldn't start drinking water until after my energy drink, around 1 p.m. Some days, I would forget to drink water altogether. I had never really recognized thirst, except during intense drinking exercise or hot weather. Nobody in my immediate family drinks water. They drink tea or soda or alcohol, but no straight up water. So, I thought I was fine, I was the most hydrated person I knew, after all. I'm also bulimic, purging, laxatives, exercise, restriction, the whole 9 yards, which fucked me over so much worse. I always had health issues, especially with my heart, but I chalked it up to bulimia. A few months ago, I went in for a strep test. The nurse was getting my vitals. They wanted a urine sample for a pregnancy test to see which antibiotics to prescribe, but I couldn't provide one after 3 bottles of water. My heart rate literally went from 40 to 140 in seconds while I was seated. They did my orthostatic vitals, laying, sitting, standing, and it was clear that I was dehydrated. I had to be rolled out in a wheelchair to go to the ER to get in for. I felt much better after the 4, but I figured it was the pain meds they gave me for strep. More recently, I returned for my checkup. They took my vitals again, had to do orthostatic, and gave me another 4. I felt amazing afterwards. I couldn't remember ever feeling that alert and energized. I didn't know you weren't supposed to feel your heartbeat all of the time. I didn't have any after images, and I wasn't seeing faint stars in my vision. The strangest part was, I didn't feel anything when I was sitting down or standing up. I couldn't remember ever feeling so normal. So, I made hydration a priority. I stocked up on Hydrolyte, cut back on caffeine, am receiving treatment for bulimia, and set reminders to drink water. No more dry eyes or skin, better BMS, and I have a lot more color in my face. I can't believe I lived like that for so long, especially with the fatigue and brain fog. I really hope it doesn't have any long-term consequences. I wish I had known so much earlier. Edit. It's not like I didn't know I needed to drink water lol. I thought, based on my environment, that I was a very hydrated person, which was not the case. We get a lot of the water and electrolytes we need through food, and my food intake and absorption was greatly impaired. On top of that, I was losing fluids at a similar rate as I was replenishing them. My threshold for water required for optimal health was far higher than the average person's due to bulimia. All of the symptoms I experienced could have been explained by bulimia alone, so I didn't recognize the role that dehydration played in my health decline, but both worked together to cause it.